Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. She'll also bring insightful interviews with successful business owners who have used networking to expand their businesses. Building relationships is the heart of networking, and generosity is the cruise ship that will navigate you toward those important relationships for your business or career. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Hello there, and welcome to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. I'm glad you found the show. Networking is providing opportunities for others that they would not have except for you, so that you have standing to ask for opportunities from people when you need them. How do we create opportunities for others, and how do we ask for those same opportunities? Well, that's what this podcast is all about. It's what I'm here for. Let's dive into episode 34. Welcome, listeners, to this episode of the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. Thank you for coming back to the show and listening. And I have another really insightful, exciting guest that I met through networking. I have with me today Lupita Linda. Lupita Linda, thank you for coming on the Networkers Tour Guide podcast.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm truly excited. I mean, this is going to be an amazing conversation. I can already tell.
I think it will be. That's my hope anyway. It's always my goal. Is to bring insight, just different business owners and how networking has improved their business, how they've used networking to grow their businesses. And I love the variety because I meet so many different kinds of people. And so for the listeners, Lupita Linda and I met at a networking event, I would say, like 2 years ago, I think, on a Saturday.
Yes, it was a Saturday, I remember. And, it was... wow, 2 years. It's gone by fast. We're having fun. That's the deal. I already know that.
Right? And she was a presenter. Now, Lupita Linda is with Park Lane Jewelry. And Park Lane Jewelry is a direct sales company, or you might say it's a MLM, which stands for multi-level marketing. What attracted me to Lupita Linda's business was that she's working her MLM as a real business, which can sometimes be a little bit hard for people to understand that a $250 kit does not mean that 6 months from now you're in Hawaii and you're not working. Because sometimes those things can get tricky. And I just admire the work that Lupita Linda puts into her business, and she's taking it very seriously. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about Park Lane Jewelry and how you got into it?
Well, thank you so much. Sales, I guess, has always been in my blood since I was age 11 when your parents throw you into their family restaurant, right? And so I think that's what helped me grow into that. But I've always worked a full-time job since I was 18, but I've always worked sales in my entire life. I've worked 3 other direct sales businesses, and I landed Park Lane because they found me. And it's a family-owned business. And I'm a strong believer that when you work with a family-owned business or someone that's been in business for over 10 years and they're celebrating 70 years this year, is truly someone you want to be with, right? But what I love about Park Lane is that you truly run your business how you want to run it. And you have to learn how to be consistent in your business, right? Meaning that you schedule regular income producing activities and you create however you want to do it, or you use the tools that are given to you. So basically, like when you go work as a banker, a lawyer, or any other job that you want to work, real estate, anything, it's just by starting being consistent. So I always look at this as, every morning we must brush our teeth. Whether you do or don't, that's up to you, but that's something that we do, right? And so you block your time from the minute you wake up until the minute you get to work, your daily, your weekly, and your follow-ups, right? Reaching out to people, your follow-ups or whatever it is, right? There's always that 80-20 rule. And that's 80% of your time is on sales and sponsoring or recruiting, whatever you want to call it, or bringing in new customers. And 20% is your administrative task. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. but you need to have that vision to post consistently, whether your company is for social media, share stories, go live, engage with your audience. However that looks or needs to be, that is the most important part, right? And then hosting something monthly or gifting or doing something monthly, whether it's online, in person, people need to see you. They need to hear about you, whatever it is, whether it's a giveaway, whether it's an auction, whether any kind of a themed event, product launches. If there's something new that's coming out, how are you going to get those people to see those and stay? It's like a commercial that it stays in your mind, right? What systems are you going to use? How are you going to track your people? How are you going to do your follow-ups? How are you going to have them be part of your business, right? How do you keep track of it, whether it's on your laptop, on your phone, right? And then what's that little extra? Giving great customer service. What does it look like? How does it sound, right? Thank you notes. Is it via text? Is it via voice? Is it through the mail, snail mail? Checking in on them. I always call it the this rule that you do the 2 day follow-up, right? Then you do a 6 week, and then you do a 90-day, right? That builds loyalty. So my words here that have helped me grow into this type of business is consistency, loyalty, but most importantly, relationship building, right? And then how are you going to leverage, by using all those tools, your network, right?
Okay.
How are you going to ask for the referrals?
Let me,
sorry.
Before you go on to the next, because you said so many great things, let's just recap a little bit. What stood out to me in your working in MLM, but you're focusing on income producing activities. I think that's so important to do the things that is this going to bring revenue to my business? Maybe not today, but maybe in 3 months. I also love the fact that you're saying that if you're in an MLM, you have to be doing something monthly. You have to be doing a promo or something monthly, because that builds momentum. And it's easy for, I would think, like let's just say it's a stay-at-home mom. She bought this kit and now she's going to sell. She runs out of her friends. She can't sell to her friends anymore. And then she just puts it on the shelf and it's like, well, I'll get to it when I want. But having monthly activities that you have to do, whether you want to or not, you just doing them, keeps the momentum going, and it keeps your mind on your business, because it is a business. If you're going to buy a kit and be part of an MLM, it is a business. And the cost of being in business means you have to work. It can't be that you put an hour a week in and you're in Hawaii in 6 months. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah.
No, and I love that you said Hawaii. We're going to Cancun.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm a strong believer that treat it like an 8 to 5 job or 9 to 3 or whatever the case may be, but be consistent. And I like to give this quick tip, and that's to everybody in general, is that what do you want to do on Monday? Is Monday the day that you're going to reach out to customers or reach out to new people? On Tuesdays, is that your follow-up day? I think what happens when you get in these types of business, it becomes overwhelmed because you want to do everything at one time. Or you try do it for 3 calls or 3, when you go networking and you meet with 3 people and you got the rejection of no, I'm not interested, I don't know, blah, 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 right? I feel strongly that we have to give it 100 tugs, and I call them tugs and hugs, because and here's the deal: whether you work a full-time job and do something on the side, thinking that you want to make it a full-time job, because it is a full-time job for me now, after 3 years of working over 40 years in the business with a direct sales business, and it becomes harder when you have to create your own agenda, when you have to create your own. But what I love about what got me really intrigued with Park Lane is that they have all the tools and examples for us. We just have to pick and choose what works for us. And it's not just one tool and you're done. I'm a strong believer, and I want to share this with everyone, is that you have to give it at least 3 to 5 times trying it. Because the first time it's like, oh, I'm not really sure what I did. That was wrong. I keep getting a no. But I believe when you get with a buddy, or especially like with the networking people or relationship builders, they will help you
Right.
with your word choices of what did
Mm-hmm.
we say. And so I feel you become stronger the more you, I know, make the mistake. It's because, you can create a mistake and you can also correct it
Right.
if you want it.
Right. And one of the things about in-person networking is, as opposed to just all putting all of your eggs in the social media basket, is that when you're in person and you're talking to somebody about your business, and you assume that when you say this thing that the hearer is hearing this thing, but the hearer then can immediately say, well, what do you mean by that? And that's such great feedback for you, is to have a real conversation about your business where you're learning immediately where's the knowledge gap in what this jewelry can do, or the variety, or the selection, or the process. If you're talking to somebody in person, you're getting real feedback about how your process is, where, as opposed to online, just always putting things online and never talking to a real person about your business, you miss out on that immediate feedback. Oh, I need to tweak that. That's a terrible word. They're not getting it. Or, oh, okay, you see somebody's eyes light up when you talk about a feature, or you talk about the benefit of having a necklace. Okay, I need to do more of that. What do you think of that?
Right. And what I suggest is that many times when people do see that jewelry on you, well, it's not for me. I don't like jewelry. But there's always, well, do you have a mom or do you know of someone who loves jewelry? But let me share with you a little bit about our jewelry. And our jewelry is designer inspired. And what that means, not many people know that. And when I got started 15 years ago with this company, I had no idea who some of these designers were. I had to go look them up. So I always tell people, do you think, I knew who Cartier was and I knew, some of the names, but we have the name brand without that big cost. Like right now, there's one called Van Cleef, and we don't like to say it because that's not what we're in for, but we have the look. So that necklace, that the real one is over $3,000 and ours is $30.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really tell the difference. And we have unconditional guarantee. So I like to share is when you get into an MLM or direct sales, do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you say to yourself, am I a fit for that company, or is that company a fit for me? It's basically like if you are trying to be a banker, do I really want to be a banker? Well, you may not want to be a teller, but you might want to be the VP, or you might be that loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to give that example. That's what some of these companies are like, and give it a try. What's the worst thing that's going to happen is that you're going to receive a paycheck and some free jewelry. And
Right.
most importantly, meet friends. And that's how we met.
Right.
That's how you and I met,
At a
because you
networking
weren't real
event.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't sure about my jewelry, and we sat down, and then I learned about your business,
Mm-hmm.
and the window business,
Right.
and then the cleaning business, and I was really intrigued. And anytime that anybody needs something, that needs their windows cleaned, I know who to refer, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty behind our networking.
Right. Right. And I do have to brag on Park Lane's customer service, because I got so excited because I ordered a bunch of stuff from Park Lane through Lupita Linda. And then I was so excited to take off the little tag off one of the necklaces, and I broke it. I broke the necklace, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And you said, oh, don't worry about it. We'll replace it. So the customer service is really, really good. And your heart is completely in it, 100%. And I just really admire that, because I don't look down on MLMs, but what I don't like is the people who are in MLMs and don't treat it like a business. That's
Right.
makes me sad, because they're probably expecting something and they're not going to get it. If they're not making relationships, it's just the same as any other business. You have to make relationships.
Correct. And being in the direct sales industry for 40 years, even though I'm only 26 at heart.
Aren't we all? Right.
Yes. So you can reverse the 26. And anyway, I'm not, but I always share that, you have 3 seconds to like the product, because it's not about you. It's about that person, number one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And number two is make friends first. And many times we all get a bad rep in the MLM and the direct sales business because people just go in there and want to go in for the sale, want to go in for the sale. And, don't take me wrong. I mean, back then when I first started, I was the same way because we didn't know any better. But
Mm,
wow, through networking, you're going to meet so many people that train on different types of leadership and team buildings. And, you don't have to go pay thousands and thousands of dollars. You have people here local that can
right.
help you,
Right.
and then look at your company that you're with. I mean, I'm not going to brag, but I am. Park Lane has like the top notch training. I mean, we have so many systems because they want to make sure that whether you work a full time job or part time or do this part time or full time, there's availability 24/7 for you at the tips of your fingers, and not just the leader has to be there for you all the time. So
Right.
that's one of the perks that caught me for Park Lane.
Right. Well, you did something really fun and unique that I wanted to talk about. And then I do want to talk about the training because you were talking to me about that. And that's really interesting. So, you had this thing, it was like a bingo thing, is that what you call it?
Uh,
Talk to us about that and mainly just the creativity of it and so you can get creative as an MLM person in how you are putting offers in front of it. Doesn't always have to be, okay, we're going to have a party and you're going to invite your friends and I'm going to come and I'm going to demo. It doesn't always have to be that. So tell us what you did.
So what we do, and I say we because it's a team effort. We
Mm-hmm.
all put our brains together to make it work. And if it doesn't work, we tweak it. And what's beautiful is that they give you the shell and then you make it work for your audience. And so what you saw, I believe it's not a bingo. It was 12, just let's call it 12 squares. So right now I'm going to post 12 flowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because spring is about to happen or it's already happening, right? And each of those numbers, you pick a number and it costs $45. But whatever number you select, you never know what you're going to get. And so you're either going to get one item that's valued at 200 or you get several items that are up to $200. So you only paid $45, right? And then another person will get anything that they want, two items that are valued at 100 or more for $45. And it just keeps going. And what it is our hostess benefits that we break it down into 12 sections. So everybody's going to get a piece of that pie rather than having that one person trying to get 10 orders so that they can get up to $500. So it's basically spread out $500, if not more, for 12 people to get. And so then I just draw the person, that number. And then like if Faithann said, I want number 5, what was number 5? And that's a beautiful way to get people to, number one, get to have quite a few pieces of jewelry that have never seen or worn Park Lane, right?
Right.
Or a
Mm-hmm.
repeated person that says, wow, I just had a party. I don't want, but I needed some more jewelry. So I'm going to go in on this.
Right.
And so what happens is all that jewelry comes to my house so that I can then match it up to the proper person and then I give it to them. And it's a lot of fun because everybody's, oh, what number should I get? What number, So that's what we do. Yeah. That's
It's
one of the things. And then yeah. So,
it's so
and I think you participate on that,
I
right?
did, and I got a bunch of jewelry, which is so cool. It's so creative though, because um, most people. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know, but for me, if you're gonna say, "Hey, Faith Ann, host a party at your house and invite all your friends," and and then if you get so many orders, you're gonna get this free stuff. I probably wouldn't do it, but this was just so easy. Oh, I pay
Yep.
$45, or was it 40 or 45? I can't remember, but
It was 45. It was
yeah.
45.
And
Yeah.
then I'm going to get something. And, you've added this fun part to it. I mean, I love this idea of being creative so that, we take the pressure off. I can imagine, somebody new to Park Lane would be really helpful for them to start
Yeah.
that way. And then you build relationships because you're delivering packages of fun to your clients who have gotten whatever they got. And so that's the first thing that they're acquainted with you is fun. You know, a box of sunshine in a little necklace or a ring or whatever. And I would think that would be a real nice way to start some
It
kind of
is,
MLM.
and what's funny is that I already have some regulars already, since I've been consistently doing it. Because I used to just do it once a quarter, once every 6 months. You know, I wasn't real sure. You know, there's that assumption that I had to take away, and so people say, and I said, if I did this once a month, would you participate? And they said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. So I think I'm going to go every other month because, you know, May's already come and gone. So I'm going to start June again, and then there'll be 4th of July. So I'll do probably flags, and then August, you know, maybe ice cream cones, getting ready for socialization. You know, you just, you know, think of different themes, and I believe people just love it. Beach balls, flip flops. You know, I have a list of all my people. They'll say, "Hey, how about if we do flip flops?" And then what I'm going to add to it? Oh, I don't know. Should I say? So maybe the one with the flip flops. I figured, you know what? I might just do a giveaway of you know, flip flops, and one lucky winner of those 12.
Yeah,
See?
that's a great idea.
And maybe flowers that are shaped of cookies, you know. And you know, they're giving me the ideas. And so I always say to people, don't ever be shy to try Park Lane or any other business, of course Park Lane, because it's our customers, like everyone, that gives me the ideas, and then I just take the ball and run with it. And I love it. I love it.
And
Yes.
you're listening to your customers, which is always such a great brand identity. You know, Lupita Linda listens to me when I tell her my ideas, and the customer service. It's just a whole package. All right. So one more quick thing I wanted to talk about was how you guys encourage each other on training calls. You want to talk a little bit about that? Like the people that you are mentoring in Park Lane.
Hi, listeners. Do you struggle when it comes time to deliver your introduction or pitch at your networking meetings? Faithann has put together the 8 tips she uses to make her introduction stand out when she networks. And now you can use them too. Imagine walking into your next event with confidence, knowing exactly how to stand out so people actually remember you. These tips are designed to spark your creativity so you can bring more personality, energy, and originality into your introduction, helping you feel more confident and making it easier for people to connect with you. Grab your free copy of 8 Ways to Make Your Introduction Stand Out by clicking the link in the show notes and download it today.
Yes. So there's like over hundreds of training, but one that worked for me was called something the sandwich method. And maybe because I love food, I don't know. I'm just saying that. But it's called the sandwich method. And what that does is Park Lane, I call it a tribe because I live in Oklahoma. So we're a tribe of over 5,000, maybe 10, I don't know how many. But there's always some kind of training every single Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And they're always at different times. And then what they do is whatever training they trained, we have it already in a file for everyone.
Okay.
And then you just go back and look at it. And myself as a leader, I'll just tell my girls, because majority of them all work full time, and I have a private team page, and I'll tell them, hey, you were struggling with XYZ, go check this out. And I drop the video right there for them to watch. And they can watch it, and then they'll share with me what they learned, so I know that they did watch it. Just kidding. But the sandwich method, what worked for me is I was trying to reach a goal, and I knew in my heart that there was no way, well, I shouldn't say never, but there was no way, because I had fallen a little bit behind, that I was ever going to make, you know, a $2,500, you know, in 3 days. And I thought, that's just not going to work. And so I said, okay, let's try the sandwich method. And what that is basically it's a 4-day training. Thing that you do to get bookings or sales, because that's bottom line what we need. And so what you do is you have to have your collected leads, people that you're going to follow up or call, or, you know, they give you a whole list. You know, I like the chicken list. The chicken list is the one that pulls me. It's kind of like if you want to go up on a roller coaster, but you're not really sure because you're afraid of heights. You definitely go up that first, and then the rest of the rides are going to be just fine, right? Well, the
Oh,
chicken list, yeah. So the chicken list is basically people that you wanted to ask, but you're afraid to ask because you know that you assume that they're going to say no or whatever. So those are the people that I approach first to get that out of the way, right? And
I
so
love
you have
that.
your list.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And so what you do is you actually either phone, I like to voice text so they can hear my voice. But if you don't want to do that, you can type out the text or you can email. So there's all those options. Or if you're one that likes to pick up the phone and call and leave messages, that's why I voice text some people, right? So you call, and then depending on what that conversation is going to sound like is how you would leave that message, right? And then that's day one.
Mm-hmm.
Day two, right? So I call it like that was my slice of bread. Who am I going to reach out to, right? And then number two is your meat. You're going to check in. If they didn't return the call, the text, or the email, then you're going to say, hey, Faithann, this is Lupita, your jewelry gal. I just checking in if you received my message yesterday.
Okay.
And then if she doesn't, then on day three, I call it the veggies. Maybe you don't like veggies that go in your sandwich, but you do nothing because you're trying to decide, okay, these said no, these said never return my call or whatever. So you're categorizing and putting those aside. Then on day four is when you circle back. So that's when you say, and I like to be funny because that's just me. I would say, hey, Faithann, I wanted to be a good business person. If not interested now, how does next month be? I don't want to be that stalker jewelry gal, LOL.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that, right? And or you could say there's a fine line between good follow-up and being a stalker, LOL.
Mm-hmm.
So they give us the word choices and then we just tweak it to our liking, right? So those are the two that I use, unless it's someone that doesn't like to be joking around, then I just will say. And I guess where we go with this 4-day method is that most of the time, 80%, if not higher, when you make a phone call, and I don't know how many of you will agree, and you don't get an answer, most people say, oh, they're never going to, or they don't return the text or the phone call. We just assume that they're not interested. And so what this sandwich method helps you is that letting you know that people are busy.
Right.
How many times if you text a little something, people may read it and they don't respond right away, and then they forget.
Right.
Until you text them or call them back. And so my motto is I continue with the follow-up until you tell me no.
Okay.
And we do it professionally because we have all these tools that have it. And so I can share 2 of them that we use that are the most popular ones. If somebody if somebody answers and say, well, I'm not really interested, I don't really want to bother my friends right now, because they'll give you excuses. So I basically would say, Faithann, I can appreciate that. Thank you for being honest. I never want to bother people either. But, and you can leave the word but out, I would never ask you anything and nothing to do that's going to make your friends, your relatives or whatever, hate you. I promise you that. You're sharing an amazing product that's been in business for over 70 years with them that can help them shop and save time and money while still getting a quality product, especially with the summer months coming up or whatever. And, I'll say, you know what, how about we turn that blank shopping experience for your friends, your family, and you're going to get the rewards that you can use to spoil yourself or do some shopping for other people for free. I like to end with the word free because it is free, and I'll say free jewelry credit. I have blank day and blank day available this week, which works better.
Okay.
And so you learn to take a little control, but not 100%, because people are busy and we need to be the ones that guide them. And I I feel that's where it gets misunderstood a lot of times, that we're trying to be the person telling them what to do, but it's not. Sometimes when we're so busy, yet we want to help that
Mm-hmm.
company or that business, but we don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And so we guide them. And that's one of the tools that we have. And then the last one is, it just isn't a good time for me right now. How many times do we hear that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, Faithann, I hope everything's okay. You know, is it okay if I circle back in a few weeks and see if things have calmed down a little bit or
Mm-hmm.
getting or better? I'd love to share this collection with you and your friends and spoil you with some jewelry to brighten you up. How
Right.
does that sound?
Yeah, and it's just a question. I mean, it's not like you're summoning them to jury duty. It's just a question.
Which,
and they can say yes or no.
correct. And
Yeah.
that's it. And if they say no, then I'll just, a lot of times we forget to say this, but I always say, if they say no, just say, you know what, thank you so much. May I still keep you on my VIP page? Can I send you
Right.
monthly specials or quarterly? And that way you're still in touch, but not constantly trying to ask them for the business of having a party or a fundraiser or anything of that sort.
Right. Do you ever ask people for introductions, like a real strategic introduction? Like I can't really think of a profession, but like maybe a bride or something like that. Do you ever ask, or a wedding planner who's going to be in front of brides, and then they can maybe suggest jewelry on their wedding day or something like that?
Absolutely. Yes. I used to be very involved before COVID. Actually, I mean, a lot of the bridal was in the bridal magazines with Park Lane. Is I go to the bridal events and, any of the coordinators, and I'll say, I don't know if you're familiar with Park Lane Jewelry, but we're jewelry that they can wear not only for that one special occasion, but they can also continue wearing it. The beauty behind of the bride getting her own jewelry, she can also shop for the bridesmaids, the mother of the bride, so on and so forth. And then or the bride's girls could also buy their own jewelry, and then that will give the bride her jewelry for free. So there's
Yeah.
many ways to work it. And if she says, I already have all the jewelry, well, how about maybe if you're going on your honeymoon, you might need some jewelry to wear during your honeymoon. So yes, I'm very involved with that because it is quality jewelry and there is we have all sizes of jewelry to fit everybody. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of like a referral relationship, and maybe travel agents too, because they're planning honeymoons, and maybe like a travel agent could, like as a referral bonus, like if you bring 4 or 5, you know how travel agents are always looking for groups of people to go on excursions. You invite a
Yes.
friend so that I can have this many on this group. You get a free necklace or something like that. Just an idea.
You're so good at this, Faithann. Of course. And especially like travel agents or even people that are in real estate or whatever, if they want some jewelry and they get a group of realtors that are part of their company, if they all buy, then I give her X amount of jewelry, because our buying program is basically, for every guest that makes a purchase, that person is going to receive $20 in credits. So
Mhm.
if 5 people made a purchase, and it does not matter the size of the dollar amount, whether it's $30 or $300, she's going to bank. So if it's 5 orders, you can pick up to $200 in free jewelry,
Sounds like a great
and
deal.
that's 365. And then Park Lane doubles it. If it's 10 orders, you get $400.
Mm,
And none of this comes out of my pocket.
that's
None of it.
nice. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's a win-win.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, I've really enjoyed getting to know you better, not just as, somebody who can provide me with jewelry, but also just as a friend. And I do think I loved when you said make friends first. I think that's so important. And I've never gotten the feeling from you that, you're just out after my business and nothing else. I mean, it's true relationship building. It's true, to helping each other. And I was proud to show my jewelry that I've gotten from Park Lane and take pictures and put on social media. I'm just, I'm a cheerleader, and that's what networking will do for you. I have cheerleaders, and I'm one of your cheerleaders,
Yes, you are. Thank you. And your necklace is in, by the way.
I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Listeners, I have a butterfly necklace that I broke because I was so excited to, wear it, and then I broke it. So
I have many customers that do that. I think what I'm going to do is when I get everybody's jewelry, I'm going to take the tags off and just put it on the side.
yeah,
90%
that's a
people,
good
when they're
idea.
trying to take it off, they do bust it. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
But see, it's unconditional guarantee. It doesn't matter if you ran over it, and if it's, just happened, and you just send it in and they send you a new piece.
That's great
And that's what I
customer
love.
service. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, as we wrap this up, I always ask the guests 2 questions. So I'm going to ask you, what do you like to see when you network, and what do you not like to see when you network?
I'm glad you asked, because, I love everything about sales, and I really focus on how naturally we need to learn how to blend. And I call it brick and mortars, businesses and us, right? With my 40 years in direct sales, I have seen how powerful it is to combine not only the flexibility, but a personal connection with local visibility. That's so important to me. It's not just about jewelry or products, it's about the people.
Right.
And I've been able to connect with, others, with trusted, I'm going to just say from my networking, plumbers, AC pros, photographers, and more. It's community of referrals to me and real relationships. And that's the magic of blending direct sales with everyday life, in my opinion. And with Park Lane Jewelry, I get to do all of that while helping others sparkle inside and out, and to work with nonprofits with our fundraising program. Now, that is truly my passion. So that's in reality, it's, that the community, the friendship, the relationships that has to come first.
Right.
In my opinion. And I will always be the turtle, because I don't want to be racing for a sale.
Right.
People need to know what it's all about.
Right. So what do you not like when you network? What kinds of things do you just like, I wish that wouldn't have happened?
There isn't much, because when you learn in this type of business to pour out your heart into what you do, right? But let's get real in that we all don't always speak from the heart, right? Because we always feel like, but networking honestly isn't always easy, right? So the one thing many of us quietly struggle with is the fear of being misunderstood and coming off too strong, even when you're just as excited just to share something we love, right? And that's like a tug of war, right? Have you ever had to play that tug of war, right? And so how do I stay true to myself while growing this business? Because I feel that if I made that decision to come to networking, how am I going to get rid of that fear? It's a reminder that we can lead with authenticity, right? Connect with purpose. So if you're going there, it's kind of like when my mom used to say, if you're going to church just to go for me, don't even go, right?
Right.
I don't know why I brought that in, but she just came into my head. And you still have to shine bright in any type of business, but you have to keep going. You never know who you're going to inspire by just being you. And I think we sometimes forget and try to think of a script or what we want to say, right? And that's not it. It's basically, it's the fear of getting up and giving your 30-second commercial, but then there's where Faithann comes in to help you with that 30-second commercial and help you with how to make yourself feel you. I think it's the getting up and giving that, so that would be the fear. And what do I say and how do I say it in that short period of time? I feel strongly that we feel that 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or, oh, they're going to clap and I have to stop in the middle.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think all of that needs to just be put aside and just continue going and going until you feel comfortable, because every time I feel your elevator pitch is going to sound differently until you find one that you land. And then when you do, it's going to change. And
Right.
so presenting that, I think that um, just lead with your heart. You
Mm.
don't have to be perfect to make an impact to people. You just be
Oh,
real.
that's great. That's a great quote.
And yep, be real, consistent, and willing to connect, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
what I want to say. And I want everybody to connect or keep sparkling with me.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful discussion, and I'll put Lupita Linda's contact information in the show notes so that if you want to reach out to her and get some really nice jewelry, you can. And you can find her on wherever she's at. And she does go live, she has a group that she goes live into, and she'll talk about the various pieces. And so thank you again, and I'm really impressed with all that you're doing for your business and to impact the lives of other people.
Thank you for having me, and I hope this makes a difference in someone's life as well.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basor. Share this episode with a friend, and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.